Hey everyone, welcome back to NDE Journeys. Today we're diving into a story that's as intriguing as it is inspiring. Now imagine this, a regular day turning into something utterly unexpected, something that challenges the very fabric of what you believe about life and death. That's exactly what happened to Rick, a former Marine whose story we're going to explore today. But I won't give too much away just yet. What I will say is that this story has mystery, suspense, and a profound transformation. It's a narrative that pushes the boundaries of what we consider possible and leaves us with more questions than answers. Alright, let's get to it. July 1st, 1988. I was a private in the United States Marine Corps, having just graduated boot camp in April. My friend came bearing a 4-day pass with a desire to get off the military base. We figured that we would be able to make it as far as Pittsburgh. I said, "That's perfect. We can go see family." So we packed up the 1972 Plymouth Trail Duster and headed out. On the drive up, I could not stay awake. I was well rested, yet it was like I had a sleeping sickness or something. I just could not stay awake. Andy was just happy to be on an adventure. We arrived in my hometown and went to visit my cousins. Everyone wanted to go off-roading in my car, although I was so sleepy at the time. We stopped for gas before going up the mountains, and I was sound asleep at this point. Richie says to me, "We head up the mountain and the master cylinder disintegrates. The other side is a very steep grade with a rock wall on one side and huge pines on the other. We were doing 30 when we crested, but now was picking up speed. Andy is making amazing turns while trying to shove the stick in reverse, but nothing is slowing us down. We make it an impossible 2 miles downhill and have one last turn before we can coast to safety. Unfortunately, we didn't make the turn and slammed into an enormous pine tree. I was on the floor bleeding from a head wound that would eventually call for 192 stitches. I had broken the C1, the round first cervical, as well as my ring finger. One of my friends was unharmed except for the deep 2-inch gash in his calf muscle. The driver was pinned to his seat by the steering wheel, with his left leg hanging outside the driver's window and shattered with at least 27 breaks. Richie was out cold, having bounced off the dashboard and part of the engine block. He had several broken ribs, one of which had punctured his aorta. Incredibly, the least injured one of us went to get help. I woke up a bit later and climbed out the back. I stumbled up a hill a bit, but with my bleeding head wound, I was rather confused. When I saw my car, I heard the driver mumbling for help. I tried to pull him out, but he was screaming in pain, yelling, "Private, go for help, that's a direct order!" I thought I knew where we were and how to get help, so I quickly disappeared into the darkness. In the meantime, my friend reaches the trailers and calls 911 for help. Meanwhile, I am going deeper and deeper into the woods. I see miles and miles of dense forest and think that my head wound is making me hallucinate further. I stop at a tree and look up. I clearly see a Marine sniper in full camo as I try to tell him, "There's been an accident." No response. "I'm not part of your drill." Still, no response. I move to another tree. I find another sniper. "Please, fellow Marines are severely injured. Can you just radio that there's been an accident near Mainside?" This sniper looks down and shakes his head no. I go to another tree, and another, and suddenly I'm exhausted and I yell out, "Won't somebody help me? I'm going to die out here!" I trip, land on a moss-covered log, and I lose consciousness. The first responder to the scene quickly assessed the situation and notified dispatch they need the jaws of life and a helicopter to Pittsburgh. The state troopers were asking my friend, "You said there were 3 of you when you left. These 2 and you?" My friend corrects them, "No, there were 3 in the car when I left." "Well, where is he?" "That's your job, trooper, but there's a lost Marine out there." "By the way, any word on Richie?" my friend asks. They answered, "He made it to Pittsburgh and is in surgery, but he's got a long way to go." Later I did find out he does not make it and died unfortunately. I woke up on the moss-covered log. The sun is directly overhead. I felt warm and safe, like I had slept for a week. Then suddenly I remember, oh my god, those men, how could I let them down? I get up to find a path to the road. I take a few steps and notice the sun has moved away from me. I notice the sun appears to be leading me to a path. Then I think I see a car. I move quickly. I stumble down a berm and into the road to see a trooper's car. I wave him down and tell him, "There's been an accident." The trooper agrees, "Yes, we've been looking for you." I get defensive. "Why? What did I do?" The trooper says, "You were in the accident." I insist that I wasn't. The trooper said, "Look at yourself." I look down at the blood covering my clothes and think, maybe I was in an accident. The trooper told me to sit down. I moved to the side of the road and grabbed at my neck as I sat. The trooper radioed in, "Oh my God, he's got a broken neck." At this point, I end up passing out. Moments later, I'm standing on the berm again watching the scene below. I'm thinking, man, that man is messed up. Damn. Hey, that's my jean jacket. Wait a sec, that's my shirt. I look down and see that I'm not on the berm. I realize I'm floating and it hits me. Wait a second, that's me. The ambulance had left and I start to be pulled towards it. Suddenly, I'm slammed into my body, screaming in pain as I hear someone yell, "He's back!" as I pass out again. July 1st, 1988, the day I learned there's more to life than meets the eye. After the accident, after everything went black, something happened that I can't quite shake off. It's like a video permanently etched into my mind, clearer than any other memory I've ever experienced. There I was, floating above the wreck, above my own body. It's strange, you know? You grow up hearing stories about what happens when you're knocking on death's door, but nothing prepares you for the real deal. It was peaceful up there, in a way that's hard to put into words. I felt safe, almost like I was meant to be there, floating in limbo. Now, I didn't come back with any divine secrets or profound insights about life, but there was this sense of me being wrapped in an invisible embrace, a kind of love that's both overwhelming and comforting at the same time. It's as if the universe itself was holding me, telling me it's okay, that everything is as it should be. Slamming back into my body was a whole different story. I knew it was gonna hurt like hell, and boy was I right. It's like preparing for a tough mission. You know it's gonna be rough, but nothing really readies you for the impact. Since then, things haven't really changed much around me, but inside it's a whole different world. The fear of kicking the bucket? Gone. It's like knowing there's something out there waiting for us, something that ain't to be feared. I've talked about it a few times, especially after I realized this was not a dream. It took me a good 5 years to start piecing it all together, to accept that what I experienced was as real as the dirt under my boots. When I tell folks about it, there's always that look in their eyes, a mix of wonder and something else, maybe a bit of envy? Some ask if I got some kind of sixth sense out of it, but nah, I got nothing like that. A medium once told me my ESP's gotten stronger. Well, maybe it has, or maybe I'm just more in tune with things now. This memory, it's like a badge I carry around. It doesn't fade, doesn't warp with time. It's as clear now as it was back then, maybe even clearer. It's a part of who I am now, a reminder that this day is when I danced on the edge and got a peek of what was on the other side. And let me tell you, whatever's out there, it's not something to be scared of. It's just another step in the journey, a natural part of the cycle. Floating above it all, feeling that love and peace, it changes you. Makes you look at life a bit differently, you know? So yeah, that's my story, a Marine who got a glimpse beyond the veil and lived to tell the tale. It's not just a memory for me, it's a living part of who I am, a constant reminder that there's more to this life and the next than we might think. Alright, let's debrief with Rick's story. His story begins with what seems like a typical adventure, a road trip with friends. But it quickly turns into a life-altering event. A car crash leads to Rick experiencing what many might call a near-death experience, or NDE. But to simply label it as such seems to diminish the profound impact it had on his life. What's fascinating about Rick's story is the vividness in which he recalls his experience. Floating above his own body, he felt an overwhelming sense of peace and safety, a feeling that many who have had similar experiences tend to describe. It's as if, in those moments, Rick was given a glimpse into something far greater than our earthly existence. This story stands out as it's not just the dramatic nature of the accident or the suspense of the survival. It's about the transformation that occurs within Rick himself. After this experience, Rick loses his fear of death. Imagine that, the one thing most of us fear the most, and he's finally free from it. It's as if he was let in on a secret that the rest of us are still trying to understand. What I find most intriguing is how Rick's story challenges us to think about life and death differently. In our fast-paced, often materialistic world, we rarely pause to consider the profound mysteries of existence. Rick's experience serves as a reminder that there might be more to this life than meets the eye. His story also opens up a conversation about the nature of consciousness and what it means to really be alive. Is there a part of us that exists beyond the physical? Rick's experience seems to suggest so. But also, let's talk about the impact of such experiences. For Rick, it was transformative. He came back changed, with a new perspective on life and death. This kind of profound change isn't just personal, it affects everyone around him. And with that, my friends, is the incredible story of Rick, a tale that blurs the lines between the known and the unknown. It's a story that not only captivates, but also invites us to ponder the deeper questions of life and what lies beyond. As we close today's episode, I want to thank you all for joining me on this extraordinary journey. I hope Rick's story has inspired you, provoked some thought, or even just offered you a moment of awe in your day. If this story resonated with you, or you have any thoughts, theories, or similar experiences to share, I'd love to hear them. Drop a comment below, let's keep this conversation going. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and share it with anyone who loves a good mystery or a powerful story. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me bring more fascinating content to you. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We have many more incredible stories, insights, and discussions coming up that you don't want to miss. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.